in North Ridgeville, you can be very, very proud. You have had a lot of green in your community, and if Laura was still here, I'd say North Ridgeville is a green city because you've had building reuse. She talks about mixed use of buildings, where you've taken a building that was a garage, not a garage, I'm sorry, it was a Grange hall and turned it into a city hall. You've taken the old city hall and you've made it into a museum and a theater. You should be proud of yourselves. You have a blue bag recycling program here, yard waste and branch pickup. You have e-collection. You have household hazardous waste collection. You're involved with the telephone books. And I love to see that. You're collecting cell phones for the military. Not every town does this. This is something that's with your culture. You can be proud. And you're taking care of the mercury, the cardboard, and the rest of the recycling items. You can be very proud to be green in North Ridgeville. Now here's a vision I'm going to leave you with. North Ridgeville, put it together that you're going to have efficient best practice standards for your city, for your municipality, and you will implement them. You'll be green. And you will be a role model for businesses, and you'll be a role model for residents. And then there could be a community-based wind turbine with transmission lines that could be coming from the wind, where we've got a lot of wind up north, if this takes effect. And we all could be sharing, we could all be co-oping with it. We could support a regional solar research lab, and it's not that far away. GVS is involved. I'm going to those meetings along with Lorraine County Community College, along with Case Western Reserve. The region is involved in this. We need something here in Lorraine County. And last but not least, the supply chain vendors are very, very important. We need to attract more of those. Now, I'm going to go off of this little story, and I'm going to talk about a couple things that were brought up earlier. There was a mention, Jeff, you mentioned about your use, conditional use for a year. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about conditional use because it depends on what your ordinances are. You can change conditional use so that it's not just a year. It can be during the life cycle of, and then you leave it blank, you fill it in. It's similar to a grandfathering clause that you might give to a building that might have been a grocery store years ago, and you've turned it into a restaurant, and it has a liquor license, the whole bit, and then they go out of business, and it sits there. Well, it will go back to a residential home, or maybe it'll go back to a grocery store, whatever it was, with conditional use because it's no longer being used. So you could control that through your zoning. There were some other things I wanted to mention to you, and they'll come up with some of the questions perhaps. But do you have any questions for me? Oh, come now. There has to be a few. Yes?
Well, I just want to say, you said we recycled some buildings. We also recycled an old Fisher Fazio store into our Ed Center and kindergarten.
Absolutely, absolutely. And these are the stories when you're building your legacy, because when people say, what is North Ridgeville? Who is North Ridgeville? What's the heart of North Ridgeville? As you're building it to the master plan, your identification, and the mayor needs it for economic development, keep telling yourselves, keep telling your people what they've done that's good, that is green. Because people need to know, hey, we have succeeded. We are up with it. We're just not, another city that's on the edges of the county. I get that a lot. People tell me that my city is just a sleeper city. They don't really work there. They just come home to sleep there. And so I need to build the identity there. That's a good point. Yes, go ahead.
So I figured the only one to have brought this up, but you mentioned the average cost across the country for a kilowatt of electricity.
Yeah.
What's the estimated cost per kilowatt for wind energy?
That's a good one. I'll tell you why I can't answer it, and I'll tell you what we can answer about it, okay? First of all, there are, in Lorraine County, because I checked it yesterday, there are 1,000 different rates for a kilowatt within Lorraine County. Now, how can that be? It's because each industry, each company can contract their own agreement. Now, how do you figure out what your kilowatt costs are going to be? First, with a turbine, let's say with a wind turbine. First of all, it's going to be how high is that wind turbine to catch what kind of breeze? How often is that breeze going to turn that wind turbine? And by the way, the larger they are, the slower they turn. the smaller they are as far as kilowatt hour, the faster they turn. And when you come back, and if you're going to be having any single site uses, ABC companies will be putting up a wind turbine in their back, okay? You're going to have a pushback from your community. And the first question they're going to say is, it's noisy. And you need to be able to answer those noise issues. And I can come back another time, we can talk about noise issues, because I didn't come with those slides. I came specifically, as his request was, for stakeholders. But the noise for a small one is just above whispering and just below an office. Okay? And that's from NREL. For the large ones, it can be a busy office. Now, if you have multiple ones where you have a farm, and where I'm located, we don't have space for farms. You might have space here in North Ridgeville. I don't have space for a wind farm. In a wind farm, you're talking, 100 of these items. You're going to get some noise. Not only going to get the noise from the wind blowing, but you're going to get a noise from the actual machines going. The second pushback that you're going to get, they kill birds. Okay, that's going to be your second pushback from your public. And the truth of the matter is that more birds get killed from high-rise buildings and cats than what get killed with turbines. Part of it is there aren't that many turbines, but it's less than 1% with turbines. But it's 1,000 birds out of 10,000 birds that get killed going into a building, and 1,000 of them also get killed by cats. That's kind of interesting. Yes, sir.
That'll have
Point of
our last
information.
question.
What the wind turbine companies are trying to do now, the manufacturers, they're trying to go to the larger, the taller ones, okay, because they get more bang for the buck, okay, kilowatt hour cost is down. And some of these large ones, the blades are 300 feet, okay. in
You're
length.
talking utility. I'm going to
Right.
stop you a second. There's two kinds of wind turbines, and then I'm going to have you pick up. There's utility style, okay, and those are going to be 1 megawatt and above, and there's home style. Home, for a typical home that's 2,000 square feet, it's going to be a 10 kilowatt, and those are not 300. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying for production costs, keep production costs down, they're going to the large ones, 300-foot blades, and they take cranes, okay, that are too few and far between that are available. Many of these cranes take 18 wheelers to bring the cranes to the site. So, we have to keep that in mind when we're talking about, we're trying to attract these wind power manufacturing companies, because those are some of the infrastructure items that we have to work with.
That is correct, and then City Services has to look at it, and that would be for a utility style. Thank you. Jeff?
Can I ask an RTA question? How did you all resolve the bus issue between Avon Lake and the RTA and the county? Is that resolved or not?
It's resolved until June, Senator? Would you say June? It's resolved until June. It's resolved, and that's in a lot of tiers, but it's resolved until June.
Well, resolved how?
Oh, no changes for us.
No
Until
cost?
June. Until June.
And then what's the ultimatum then?
At June, we're going to have to go back into renegotiations because they're considering to cut it off. They've simply delayed their decision.
And the city's decision is to pay or not to pay when this June comes up?
This year, there won't be any payment, I can guarantee you that. We have Ford Motor Company that used to be 31% of our revenue. Last year was 28% of our revenue. This year, as you know, they're working 1 week, they're off 1 week, they're working 1 week, they're off 1 week. Thank you very much. You've been a great group.
Jennifer, I'd like to appreciate
Thank you. Oh, I like that appreciation. Thank you.
it. Please join me in welcoming our next speaker, Mayor Gillette.
Rick,
Sorry, I'm so short on time.
no, I should have did my speech, wrote my speech after everybody else got done.